Okay, so he said that he will be lifted up and bring all the people, like he'll be able to show all the people how he's dying. That means crucifixion. And that's going to show him glory because he's dying on a cross, and the cross symbolizes God and Jesus' death. So, Jesus then, he cursed a fig tree, and as Jesus and his disciples are returning to Jerusalem Monday morning, Jesus being hungry, he spotted a fig tree, and he curses it and says, may no fruit come from you again. And Israel is often characterized by a fig tree in the Old Testament, but we're in the New Testament now, so things change, I guess. It represents that we seem alive, but we are spiritually dead. So, trees are alive, but they're not alive, man. They kind of just stand there. They're dead, but they're alive. And he then cleanses the temple, and he also walked in the temple before Passover, which no one was allowed to do, but he said he was God, so I guess he could do that under his authority. So, Jesus got super angry because they all had these really dumb rules, and he wasn't very happy about that because, all that stuff was set there to honor him, but not everybody believed that it was truly him. So, when Jesus and his disciples passed the fig tree, they notice it is withered. Jesus takes this opportunity to instruct his followers to have faith in God. He tells them that if they do not doubt but believe, they will be able to move spiritual mountains through prayer. So basically they're saying you can do anything through the power of God by saying that. Jesus finishes by telling them they must forgive who have wronged them. And basically after that, what happens is they have the Last Supper, and that's where all of Jesus and his disciples go and they eat their last meal, and they don't really know that that's Jesus' last meal yet. And Jesus sits next to Judas, and he knows that Judas is going to betray him, but the other disciples don't know that. So Jesus says, I'm sorry to say, my brothers, but one of you will betray me. And he said, and I say to you that whoever eats this piece of bread will be the one who does it. And he gave it to Judas, and Judas didn't eat it. He put it in his mouth, and then when he left to go betray Jesus, he spit it out. And then when they go into the garden, when Jesus does, Judas is already telling the Sadducee group where Jesus is and everything because he took a bribe and got money for it. And so they arrest Jesus there, and Peter tries to defend Jesus by picking up one of the Sadducee guard people's swords, and he slices Malchus's ear off, and Jesus says to him, turn to your other cheek, and then he says, whoever lives by the sword dies by the sword. And what happened right after that, they took Jesus away. They gave him 40 lashes by the Romans. Caiaphas gave him to the Romans, and Pilate gave them a choice for who would be crucified, not crucified. So they let people in, but they were saying no followers of Jesus because they really didn't like him. And so what ended up happening, there was a choice between who would be free, because Pilate wanted to clean his hands of Jesus' blood. He wanted to have no part in it because his wife, she had a dream, and she knew that Jesus was an innocent person. So what happened then was there was Barabbas and there was Jesus, and Barabbas was a dangerous protester, and they set him free because there were a lot of people who really didn't like Jesus. And so Barabbas went free, and then Jesus ended up being crucified. He went on a mountain, and he had someone help him carry the cross, and they were literally whipping him as he went up to the mountain. And they had the nails put into him. He was hung up. He was crucified, and they ended up stabbing him because they don't want people to stay out there for a really long time. And then I think it was Mary, she got permission to take Jesus' body, and they buried it in a tomb. And then 3 days later, the tomb stone broke, and Jesus was gone with his clothes folded in there. And then 3 days later, he ended up coming back to life, and that's what makes the final week of Jesus so influential. Stop it, Ken.